You were taught how to be good, but you were never taught how to survive. That is the truth most people never say out loud. It's uncomfortable. It feels disloyal to admit. But once I show you this, it will explain almost everything that confused you growing up. Your father, if he was present at all, likely told you to be honest, to be kind, to work hard, to treat people fairly. He believed those rules were enough. He believed that if you behaved well, life would respond in kind. He believed goodness was protective. He was wrong, not because he was malicious, not because he wanted you to fail, not because he was stupid. He was wrong because he was blind to a key fact about the world. Being a good person does not protect you from people who are not. It never has. It never will. You didn't learn that in theory. You learned it through experience. You learned it when loyalty was met with betrayal, when patience was rewarded with disrespect, when you gave more, explained more, tolerated more, and somehow ended up with less respect, less security, less peace. Maybe it was a relationship where you kept trying to be understanding while the other person kept taking. Maybe it was a job where you stayed late, said yes, did the right thing, then watched someone colder climb past you. Maybe it was a friendship or a family dynamic where your role became the one who absorbs the damage, so others don't have to. At some point, something broke. The illusion cracked. The story you were told stopped matching what you were living. And quietly, without ceremony, you realized a truth that changes a person forever. Nobody is coming to save you. No one is arriving with clarity, fairness, or protection. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it. Plato understood this long before you were born. He did something most thinkers are afraid to do. He stopped flattering human nature. He stripped away comforting lies. He didn't say people behave well because they are virtuous. He discovered most people behave well because they are watched, constrained, or afraid of consequences. Take those away, and their behavior changes. This isn't bitterness. This isn't cynicism. This is an observation. I'll now force a hard question that your father never asked out loud. What happens when someone can act without consequence? When no one is watching? When reputation, punishment, and accountability disappear? Do people become more honest, more fair, more restrained? No, most do the opposite. They take what they can. They justify what benefits them. They explain away harm as a necessity. This isn't because they are evil. It's because incentives shape behavior far more than values do. This is the first ruthless lesson your father never taught you. The world does not run on morality. It runs on incentives. And if you do not understand that, you will be used by people who do. You were taught that being an honest person meant always telling the truth, always explaining yourself, always giving people the benefit of the doubt. You were taught that openness was strength, that transparency proved integrity. But there is a harsher reality. Honesty without discernment becomes exposure, and exposure without power becomes vulnerability. That's not permission to let your inner dishonesty seep out. It means you must stop being a lost, naive soul. Your father taught you how to behave in an ideal world. Plato teaches you how to move in the real one. Being a good person is not about appearances. It is not about being seen as virtuous. It is about internal order. But before you can build that order, you must stop lying to yourself about how people behave when power is uneven, when one person gives and the other takes, when one explains and the other evaluates, when one feels guilty and the other feels entitled. When you are too agreeable, too open, too predictable, you don't create cooperation. You create an invitation, not for partnership, but for extraction. This is where many people misunderstand Plato's fundamental teachings. They hear this and assume the answer is to become cold, aggressive, or ruthless for the sake of dominance. That is not the path. In fact, he warns just as strongly against uncontrolled aggression as he does against softness. He saw both as forms of weakness. One collapses inward, the other lashes outward. The problem is not kindness. The problem is kindness without structure. And this is the part your father never taught you. He never taught you because he didn't know how. The soul is a vessel that must be trained. It's not about emotions in the modern sense. It's about conditioning, about what you allow to shape you, about what you tolerate, about what you repeatedly expose yourself to until it becomes normal. People are not born disciplined. They are trained into discipline through repeated contact with difficulty, through controlled hardship, through learning to stand firm when fear, discomfort, or pressure appear before them. Your father wanted to protect you from hardship. That's understandable. Protection feels like love. But Plato would say, protection, when taken too far, creates weakness. Not moral weakness, psychological fragility. A person who has never been tested panics when life applies pressure. They overreact, they overexplain, they give away leverage just to escape discomfort. Look back at your own life. How many times did you explain yourself when silence would have served you better? How many times did you apologize for things that were not wrong, but only uncomfortable? How many times did you stay loyal to someone who had already shown you who they really were? That wasn't kindness. That was a lack of internal discipline. Plato's guardians were trained not to collapse under fear, loss, or uncertainty. They were taught to hold their ground emotionally, not because emotions are bad, but because uncontrolled emotions make you predictable. It makes your next move known. And predictability is a liability in a world that tests you. If I am opening your eyes with this message, hit that like button to help me reach more people like you. This is the second lesson your father never taught you. Emotional control is not repression. It is a key strategy. You were probably told to be yourself and express your feelings. Plato would tell you that expression without judgment is dangerous. Not every feeling deserves a voice. Not every thought deserves action. A disciplined person chooses when to speak, when to act, and when to remain still. That is not cruelty. That is self-respect. The reason your life improves when you become colder is not because coldness is good. It's because you stop leaking energy. You stop rewarding bad behavior with access. You stop explaining yourself to people who have no authority over you. You begin to govern yourself. That brings us to the core of everything Plato is teaching. He explains that a person is not one thing. You are not a single voice in your head. You are a system. There is the part of you that thinks and plans. There is the part that feels anger, pride, and drive. There is the part that wants comfort, pleasure, and escape. Most people let the weakest part lead. They let fear decide. They let impulse decide. They let desire and appetite decide. Then they wonder why their life feels chaotic. A person is good or honest when the right part is in charge. When reason leads. When drive supports reason. When impulse is kept in check. That is what real integrity is. Not moral signaling. Internal alignment. This brings me to the third lesson your father was never able to teach you. Being a good person is not about being nice. It is about being ordered. When you lack internal order, you become easy to manipulate. Your emotions can be triggered. Your guilt can be exploited. Your desire for approval can be used against you. That is why you felt drained. That is why you felt angry but couldn't explain why. That is why isolation felt inevitable. You are not becoming heartless. You are becoming aware. Your first responsibility is not to others. It is to yourself. But not in a selfish sense, in a structural one. A disordered person harms everyone around them, even if they mean well. A disciplined person creates stability, even in silence. This is where people ask the wrong question. They ask, does this mean I should detach from everyone, from my family, from my responsibilities? No. That question comes from fear, not understanding. This isn't a call for abandonment. This is a call for mastery. If you cannot govern yourself, you will either submit to others or try to control them. Neither is strength. Strength is self-rule. Your father may have told you to be patient. Plato would tell you to be patient with purpose. Patience without awareness becomes passivity. Tolerance without limits becomes self-betrayal. Loyalty without discernment becomes foolishness. Here is the ruthless part you were never taught. Some people benefit from your confusion. They benefit from your guilt. They benefit from your desire to be seen as good. And they will not warn you when they are taking from you. They will call it cooperation. They will call it love. They will call it loyalty. An honest person is not someone who gives endlessly. An honest person is someone whose actions are aligned with reality. If someone consistently harms you, drains you, or disrespects you, pretending otherwise is not kindness. It is dishonesty toward yourself. You do not need to announce your boundaries. You do not need to explain your strategy. Strength moves quietly. The most disciplined people do not argue. They adjust access. They change behavior. They withdraw energy. They let consequences speak. This is why so many people feel lonely after waking up. When you stop overgiving, the people who benefited from your weakness disappear. That is not loss. That is clarity. You must internalize this warning. People who lack discipline eventually become resentful. They swing from softness to rage, from passivity to tyranny. You see this everywhere. People who were never taught how to govern themselves try to dominate others instead. That is not power. That is compensation. You are not meant to become bitter. You are meant to become precise. Your father may have taught you morals. Plato teaches you navigation. He shows you that the world is not fair, although it is patterned. People respond to strength, consistency, and self-control. Not because they admire it, but because they respect it. This applies whether you are a man or a woman. Power literacy is not masculine or feminine. It is structural. When women say they stopped explaining themselves and grew stronger, they are not rejecting kindness. They are rejecting self-erasure. The goal is not domination. The goal is sovereignty. So what do you do now, after the illusion has broken? You must stop confusing being good with being available. Availability is a choice, not a virtue. You decide who has access to your time, your energy, and your inner world. Train your emotional responses, not by suppressing them, but by delaying them. When you feel triggered, pause. When you feel compelled to explain, stop. Ask yourself which part of you is speaking. Fear, pride, or reason. Accept that some relationships will end when you change. Plato teaches us that order creates distance from chaos. That is not cruelty. That is consequence. Stop seeking validation from people who do not live by discipline. Their approval is meaningless. A disordered person cannot recognize order. Hear me. You must understand this. Nobody is coming to save you, because nobody can govern your inner world but you. That is not abandonment. That is responsibility. Your father may never have taught you this because he didn't learn it early enough to teach you. He lived in a different world, or he lived asleep, or he hoped goodness would be enough. Plato knew better. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be aligned. And when your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction, you become difficult to manipulate. You become impossible to exploit. That is the ruthless advice your father never taught you. You now see the light. You are ready to move through the world awake, steady, and unafraid.